Okay, so cityscape. This is the assignment we have for week 3. We're going to build a city, just a few buildings based on a 2-point perspective. We're going to build a guideline system structure first, and then we're going to use a pen tool to add the buildings. So first I'm going to define the horizon line. I'm going to put somewhere in the center, but I need to turn on the rulers. Rulers are in the view menu. Rulers, you can hide, or you can show them, or Command R. I think it's worth to remember Command R. It's a shortcut for the rulers. And you can click and grab guidelines from the rulers, horizontal or vertical guidelines. And you can add rotations to these guidelines. Compared to Photoshop, it's more superior. It can handling rotations on guidelines. So you can just put down the pivot point, the center point, and you can rotate the guideline around it. So you can create nice, accurate, precise designs in Illustrator. And you can just grab them and you can erase them. Or you can move them around. They behave as lines. It's almost the same as an Illustrator line. But they are not visible on print. Or if you export it as a JPEG, these lines are not there. So let me draw a polygon. And I have the guidelines here. I'm going to export it as a JPEG. Put it on desktop. If I go to my desktop and I look up that polygon, it doesn't showing. It's not showing the guidelines. So these guidelines are only for Illustrator use to helping your design. It's not for out of the software. You can't put it. You can't keep those guidelines in your image files. It's only for vector editing softwares. But let's go back to the cityscape. So first I'm going to pull one more thing. You can turn any lines or shapes to guidelines. So let's say I'm drawing a polygon. It's like a shape, but in a view, guides menu, you can make guides. So it's going to be a guideline. So you can turn your guidelines to, I mean your shapes or lines, you can turn them to guidelines. Let's say I need a guideline for something special, like that wavy smooth line. Just go to view, guides, make guides, and you're going to see that color, that pink color defined for the guidelines. Actually, you can change that color. You can change that color, Illustrator, preferences, guides and grids, and you can change that color. Maybe I'm gonna change it to green. All right, so now it's green. I don't need them at this point. I'm going to build that cityscape. So first I'm putting in the horizon line. I'm going to define the vanishing point 1, vanishing point 2. You know what? Vanishing point 1, vanishing point 2. This is the horizon line. You can put objects out of your canvas in the gray area. That is the pasteboard. It's all saved there. But when you export your file as a JPEG, anything is out of the canvas, anything is on a pasteboard is not going to be visible. So be careful with that. So I have a horizon line, I have a vanishing point 1, vanishing point 2, and I'm going to put together a box shape object like a house. I'm going to add the closest vertical line as a ruler. I'm going to pull it in, and I'm going to start adding the side lines of the building as guidelines. So I'm going to pull in a guideline, put it over the horizon line, and it's not visible, but it's there. There is two guidelines on top of each other, and I'm going to rotate that one. So I go with the rotate tool, or on the keyboard, changes to that rotate tool, put the pivot point or the center point here, and I'm going to add an angle. So that is going to be one side of my building. The other way I can multiply that line here, the guideline, I just select it, edit, copy, and edit, paste in place. Paste in place is going to put the copied object into the same place. So it's there, we just can't see that now, but when I'm going to rotate, it's going to be visible. So I already have the two lines on the top of the building, edit as guidelines. Let's have another one. I just file, save, edit, paste in place. So I have another new guideline here, and go ahead and rotate. All right, so I set up the whole building now. I'm just going to define the sides, the two sides. And I think I have a perfect designed two-point perspective for you, or you can see the cube or that box shape inside. So now I can use the pen tool, and I'm going to draw one side. Maybe I'm adding a color. Then I'm going to draw the other side. All right. And I think it's a good start. Maybe I need to add some windows. So I want to add the two lines of windows on both sides. So I just need more anchor guidelines. So I'm going to select the one here. When you select it, you're going to see that turns to that dark blue. So select, edit, copy, then edit, paste in place. So I multiplied it, and I'm just going to rotate it. And that is going to be the upper end of the windows. I paste another one, and it's the lower end of the windows. And you know what? I'm getting lazy, so I'm going to select the two together, and I copy, paste in place, and I'm going to rotate the two together. So I have two guidelines copied at the same time. I'm just going to define the edges on the left and the right side of these windows, pulling a few more guidelines. And yeah, you just need to use a pen tool again. So I'm going to add the windows. So there is a more superior, more advanced way to design perspective in Illustrator is the perspective grid tool. It gives you that guideline system. That is for homework. I collected a bunch of really cool Linda videos. You can look at it if you want to try it, because maybe it's a little bit too advanced. You can hide it from here, hide grid. The purpose of the Cityscape assignment is to practice to use the guidelines. So here I give you a little demonstration. Let me just finish it very quick. I'm going to add the background. I'm going to put it on the horizon line, a green grass background, arrange, send to back. And maybe I just clone that piece, and I'm adding a sky. I'm going to add a gradient. Okay. And if I need to hide the guidelines, I can go to the view, guides, hide guidelines, or you can remember it's very useful shortcut, command semicolon on the keyboard, command semicolon, and it's going to hide the guidelines. I'm just going to get rid of these signs here. And here we go. And one student had a great question today. What if this whole building is in a wrong location on the document? You don't have to grab each element piece by piece. You can select the whole together, including the guidelines and the graphic elements. You can select everything together and you can just move them. But maybe I'm going to skip the, hold on the shift, and I'm going to skip the background. So I can move now the building with the guidelines wherever I need to. Maybe I just need to change the size. But it not changes the size together with the guidelines. That's the only bad part of it, but you can change the location. All right, command semicolon building is, guidelines are hidden. And we have a perfect designed 2-point perspective style building. All right, I think that was it for guidelines for the first try. When you do package design or product design, there you've got to be more careful with the guidelines. You can use the transform window to put them into the exact location you need to. You can change the angle. You can play around with them. You can change the colors in the preferences. But for now, I think that was good enough.